Hey, this is Gen X Amplified episode number 20. Wow. And this is it. We are introducing today the very first solo episode of the podcast. That's right. Where it will be just me having a conversation with you. And I'm so excited because today I am going to talk about the importance of planning your goals right now, but not just for your 2016 goals, but your 5-year 2020 vision. So, are you ready? Let's do it.
Welcome to Gen X Amplified, where we bring you inspirational and entertaining conversations with successful Gen X leaders and entrepreneurs.
This is the show created just for you. The powerful generation between the boomers and millennials to help you amplify your story,
Maximize your impact,
and become Gen Exceptional in business and in life.
Now, here's your host, Adrian Porter.
Hey, welcome to another episode of Gen X Amplified. This is your host, Adrian Porter, and this is it. This is the first solo episode. That is right. I mentioned on our previous episode with the great Todd Henry, which was actually an awesome conversation, by the way. You should definitely listen to that. But I mentioned during the outro that starting after that episode, I will be introducing a new format to the show. So what does that mean? So that means in addition to the interviews that we will continue to do every week with great leaders and guests, most of them Gen Xers, but we will also have millennials and boomers on, but all focus on providing value to you and empowering you, Gen Xers, to take your life and business to the next level. In addition to those, I am now going to be doing solo episodes where it is just me having a conversation with you about a specific topic, but all focused on adding value to you. And today I thought it would be very fitting, because this is the 20th episode and because we are now approaching the end of 2015, that I will focus on goal setting, not just short-term goals, but the importance of setting and thinking about your long-term vision. And since this is 2015, I want to ask the question, what is your 2020 vision? And we're going to talk about that. That is right. So let's first, before I get into the goal setting conversation, I thought I would just take a little bit of time to talk about the show and the purpose of the show, which even though you've heard me talk about it in other episodes and we have our website, I thought that I should just speak to you about why does this show exist and a little bit about me. So first, a little bit about me. I am a marketing consultant. I'm a brand builder, as I like to call it, because I love the act of building personal brands, professional brands. I am a podcaster, obviously, content creator. And I also, most recently, I transitioned out of the corporate world. So I was working for Turner Broadcasting, specifically for Cartoon Network as a senior marketing director. So overseeing the marketing for shows like Star Wars, Clone Wars, Ben 10. I also manage the content you see when you go into the movie theaters, when you watch movies and you get there. If you get there early enough, you get a chance to see the first looks. My team and the people that I work with, we were responsible for creating content for that as well. But I tell you, talking about the Cartoon Network experience and what I did, and particularly working on Star Wars Clone Wars, which is probably the biggest project, I tell you, that was so rewarding. And it's weird because I think about it more now because I am a true Star Wars geek. I love everything Star Wars, but working on that brand was so exciting. And think about it. My job every day was coming into work and thinking about how can I motivate kids 6 to 14 to watch cartoons. I mean, come on. It was a great job, and working on Star Wars and working actually directly with Lucasfilm, which I did, working on the brand. Even got a chance to stay out at the Skywalker Ranch, believe it or not. So I can dedicate a whole episode to talking about my Star Wars and Lucasfilm experience, but I won't do that. But I can tell you that I am very humbled and very fortunate to have worked on such a great product and brand and work with some really great people. So before Turner, I worked at HBO as a marketing director. And before that, I worked at Citibank, working in digital marketing. So a lot of brand marketing experience. But after that, when I transitioned out of Turner, I started to try to figure out what I wanted to do. And which is leading me to why this show exists. So I did some other things in between leaving Turner and Cartoon Network and doing the show. I also was an audio branding consultant because I'm very passionate about helping brands understand the power of audio when it comes to their marketing mix. So I did that. I got a chance to speak at Oxford University in the UK during an audio branding conference, which is really great. And I got a chance to speak with some great people, some TED Talk speakers and sound designers for Microsoft and some really great individuals. But thinking about, this show and this movement is what I call it. As I always was looking for content to better develop my brand, to learn things, I found a void in the marketplace when it came to content speaking directly to people in my generation. So people that are, between 35 and 50 Gen Xers. There were a lot of content, plenty of content specifically for millennials, even boomers. But there was a void, a void talking to that Gen X leader or that aspiring entrepreneur or business owner. And so I realized that, there are many Gen Xers like myself that have certain pain points and aspirations, and they need a voice in the marketplace. And so as John Lee Dumas likes to say, the great quote by Gandhi, be the change you wish to seek in the world. I wanted to do that. So that propelled me to really wanted to create this movement to talk directly to Gen Xers, people that are within this generation that are looking to take their lives to the next level, that are feeling frustrated and stuck, that are feeling squeezed in their current situation in the marketplace, people that are worried about job security, especially with the change in the workforce, the influx of younger professionals, millennials in the workforce. Gen Xers are thinking about their financial future and their security. So I wanted a platform that will speak directly to them. Thus, I created the Gen X Amplified podcast. And the reason I chose a podcast is because I am an avid podcast junkie. I love the medium. I think it is a great platform for personal development. You can consume content whenever, wherever you want. And that is why I chose this platform. Plus, I'm a big audio guy. So people that know me know that. So again, it was my passion to start Gen X Amplify. And again, as I always like to say, this is more than just a podcast. It is a movement. So I just wanted to share that with you because, I felt it's very important for you to understand why I created the show, why this show exists, and is really to provide value to you, the people that are listening, to hear all these great inspirational stories and insights from these leaders and entrepreneurs and people that are doing so well to empower you to take your life and your business to the next level. So speaking of that, of taking your life and business to the next level, let's talk a little bit about goal setting. So we are now in the last quarter of 2015, and everyone is thinking about goals. They're thinking about 2016 and New Year's resolutions. I want to lose weight, or I want to stop doing this. Or I want to launch my business. I want to spend more time with my kids. All of these resolutions that you have, or you may have, but people usually start planning those goals either at the very, very end of the year, or they wait until January 1st or the beginning of the year. And I say, no, you need to start planning your goals right now, because you shouldn't wait till the beginning of the year. You should start early. I start actually planning my goals usually around the 1st of October, no later than the 1st of November. So that's why I thought it would be great to pick this topic. But I really want to also talk about not just the importance of setting short-term goals, but you should really think about long-term goals. More so, what is your vision? Where do you want to see yourself 5 years from now? This is 2015. So what is your 2020 vision? And this is so important, especially for Gen Xers. So as we think about, thinking ahead of what the future will be like, especially for our personal lives as Gen Xers, let's think about 5-year goals. Let's think about the year 2020. What is your 2020 vision? And I say we should think about that first. We should work backwards. I think it's important for people to reverse engineer and cast your long-term vision first and work back. Many people tout this idea. Gary Vaynerchuk, he's a big reverse engineer person, which I'm a huge fan of Gary V. Actually, on my show, Jay Papasan, who I interviewed, who is the author of he and Gary Keller, the great book, The One Thing. And if you have not gotten the book, I definitely encourage you to get the book. But we even talked about working backwards from a long-term vision, because what that does, if you think about where you want to be 5 years from now, okay? Think about your vision. Think about your life. Close your eyes. Envision it. Think about where you want to be. Okay, then work back from that. So to get there in 5 years, what are the things that I need to be doing now each year to year, 1, 2, 3, 4, that will enable me to have the life that I want 5 years from now in 2020. And then once you do that, then you break down that 5 year into 1 year, and then you break those years into months. And then that will help you create a path that will enable you to get there with where you want to be 5 years from now. So I think everyone should be thinking about their 2020 vision, and think about our generation. So Gen Xers. So the youngest Gen Xer right now is around 35. So 5 years from now will be a milestone year because you will be hitting 40 years old. And then the older Gen Xers will be around 55. So we have these milestone years in 2020. And you should start casting and doing your goals right now. So how do we do that? Okay, so I want to talk a little bit about best practices when it comes to goal setting. First, I want to reiterate. Start setting your goals right now. Don't wait to the beginning of the year. Start thinking about them right now. And this is the time. This is the time to really optimize that brain power and start thinking about them. And how do you do that? So if my first, and I want to get into maybe 3 to 4 best practices of goal setting, and especially casting your 2020 vision, your long-term goals, and even your short-term goals, as I mentioned. So the first best practice is be very intentional. Very intentional. What I mean by that is that don't procrastinate, start early. And I've already talked about that, but be very intentional with your goals. Don't treat this as some sort of passive exercise. Be very focused, schedule time on your calendar that you will spend on focusing on your goals. I mean, schedule time on your calendar, like put it into your calendar app, whatever calendar app you use for your phone. If you have, a wall calendar, write it down with a dry erase board. If you have a booklet or a calendar at a glance, write it down. But at the end of the day, be intentional. Schedule it like a meeting that you would focus and spend time on really digging into what you want to achieve 5 years from now, and then reverse engineer from that into more shorter term goals for 2016. So number 1, be intentional. Number 2, as I mentioned, not just write down or schedule, but write down your goals. That's right. Write them down. Now that may seem a little obvious, but trust me, you'll be amazed. And for those of you that are listening, this may be you. Sometimes we don't write down our goals. We think about them in our head. We talk about them with people, with colleagues, with friends, but you have to write down your goals. Write them down on a pen pen with pen and pencil and paper. And you can also use, an app. As I mentioned before, like I'm a big Evernote guy. So I actually have an Evernote notebook in the app for my 2016 goals and my 2020 vision, my 5-year goals. But, I actually encourage you to do both. Not only if you are a digital person and you love using your Evernote or your Note app on your iPhone, use that, but also write them down on regular pencil and paper and stick them somewhere where you can see them all the time. Trust me, I think it's something about seeing that tactical, visible paper right in front of you that really kind of reiterates the importance of those goals. So number 2, write down your goals and again, have them in multiple places where you can see them. Post them on your mirror, put them in a Post-it note. If you have a desk in your home, put it right on your desk or on your wall. If you're working for a company, write them down and bring them with you. Put them on your computer monitor if you need to. But at the end of the day, you need to write down your goals. And number three, best practice: make them actionable and measurable. Make them actionable and measurable. And measurable is really important. So what I mean by that. So if your goal is to lose weight, okay, let's say that is your goal for next year or 5 years from now, but let's say that it's more of your short-term goal. Excuse me. What does that mean? You can't just say, I want to lose weight. Well, how many pounds do you want to lose? Well, I want to lose 30 pounds. Okay, see, now we're getting somewhere. Have them measurable where you can actually see and work toward a result. It's good to have some goals maybe that are very, high level, but even some of the high level goals where I want to make more money, or I want to make $100,000 next year, or let's say I want to make more money, but what does that mean? I want to make an additional $50,000 next year. Okay, well, what will it take to get there? How much money is that per month? How much money is that per week? Make your goals measurable. You must do that. And then the last best practice is, I really, really encourage having an accountability partner. Have someone that you can talk to, that you will share your goals with. Once you've written them down, once you've been intentional, and once those goals are measurable, share them with someone that you trust and have them hold you accountable for those goals. It could be a spouse, it could be a best friend, a sibling, but someone that you feel that will hold you to the fire with those goals. Have an accountability partner. So the 4 best practices: be intentional, schedule time for your calendar, number 1. Number 2, write down your goals on a piece of paper and or in your app, or both. Again, I encourage using both digital and traditional. Number 3, make them measurable. Don't just say have big lofty goals without any type of target. And lastly, but not least, have an accountability partner. So those are the 4 best practices that I feel are important when it comes to setting goals, both short-term and long-term. Now I want to get into the categories, especially for your long-term vision, that I feel are some great buckets that you can focus on. Now, these aren't limited to these 5 categories I'm going to talk about, because some of you may have different goals or a different vision of where you see yourself 5 years from now. But these are some of the top 5 that I feel are important, particularly to the Gen X generation. So number 1, personal development. What are your personal development goals? What is your personal development vision? What does that mean? So, do you want to do more reading? Do you want to read more to become a better leader or to become a better person? What about taking a class? What about let's say that you've always been interested in doing pottery. Okay, well, do you envision yourself doing that next year or maybe 5 years from now? What are your personal development goals? I am a huge, huge believer in personal development, because right now we are in this marketplace. There is so much access to information that we have the tools right in front of us, that if we want to learn something, if we really want to learn something, you can learn it with the click of a button, with the swipe of a finger or what have you. Personal development is important. So I really believe that personal development should be one of your main categories when it comes to goal setting. And podcast is another great medium in addition to reading. There are plenty of podcast shows that are out there across multiple categories: business, leadership, comedy, cooking. I mean, you name it, it's out there. So again, personal development is one category I feel is very important, especially when it comes to the Gen X generation. Number 2, what are your financial goals? What do you want your bank account to look like 5 years from now? What about retirement? Are you going to retire? Do you want to retire? Personally, I feel that retirement doesn't have the same level of cachet that it did years ago, because you're still able to do things, maybe not in the corporate setting, but maybe in your home, that you can still generate income and still enjoy life. But it all depends. But retirement, let's say you do want to retire. Well, how will you get there? If let's say that in 5 years from now, based on your age, there's no way you even thinking about retirement, but that's okay. But in 5 years from now, are you closer to having that nest egg that you want to have when you do retire? You have to really think about that, both short term and long term. So what are your financial goals? How will you get there? And I think that leads into the third category after financial. That's business and career. So based on your financial goals, what are you going to be doing 5 years from now as a business in your career? Are you looking to be in a higher position on your current job, or do you want to own your own business? Do you want to be an entrepreneur? Do you envision yourself in the year 2020 being the boss of your own company? It could be a small business or it can be a big corporation. Whatever it is, you should really write down, remember that, and think about your business goals 5 years from now, and what will it take for you to get there? And when it comes to being an entrepreneur, I talked about this. I talk about it a lot. Not everyone wants to be an entrepreneur, and I know that. But I really encourage, especially this generation, start thinking about that side hustle or that's something that they can truly own on their own, because there's not been another time in the history of this marketplace where we have the tools at our disposal to create something of our own. Something that you're passionate about, something that you want to do. And you can start small. You can start a blog, you can do this, you can create a platform. But, as we think about our financial goals, as we think about financial security in this generation, generating, I should say, additional income is really important. And there are many ways to do that now. Build your brand, come up with an idea. I highly encourage everyone to start thinking about something that they're passionate about, something that they have experience in that they can monetize. So number 3 category, what are your business and career goals? Number 4, family and lifestyle. What does your family makeup look like 5 years from now? Has it expanded? How much time are you spending with them? Do you want to take more family vacations? Do you see yourself in 2020 taking a vacation, every quarter with your family, every month? Just in general, what does your family look like? How do you feel about family and your lifestyle 5 years from now? Really think about that. That should be one of your main categories of your goals, especially your long-term vision, because you have to think about these things now so you can start working toward them. And if you're married, share this with your spouse. After you write down these goals and you put them in these different buckets: personal development, financial, business, family, especially, share them with your spouse, share them with your friend, share them with someone that you care about. So what are your family and lifestyle goals? And then last, but definitely not least, as far as a goal vision category, your health, your physical being. Are you happy right now with your physical makeup and your health? Do you have a goal 5 years from now? And when it comes to health, I know that is a long time ahead. So you may be thinking more shorter term, but that is okay. That is quite okay. But you still should think about where you want to be 5 years from now in 2020, because it takes work to kind of get to that health makeup that you may want. If you, let's say you want to lose weight, let's say that you want to gain more muscle, let's say that you want to stop eating bad foods. What are your dietary plans? Do you want healthier eating habits? All of those things you really need to write down and think about and start crafting a plan, an action plan to get there. So that is, again, last but definitely not least, what are your health goals? So I'll just run through them again. So the 5 categories that I feel are really important, especially to this generation: personal development, financial, business/career, family and lifestyle, and then lastly, your health. That is it when it comes to goal setting. We are now, this is it. This is the last quarter of 2015. Don't wait. Start now. Write down these goals, cast, and think about your 2020. What is your 2020 vision? Where do you want to see? Where do you want to be? Where do you see yourself 5 years from now? And when you do this exercise, again, this isn't just some one exercise that you would do only 5 minutes in 5 minutes. Really be intentional, set some time on your calendar to start, but have fun with it. Play around with it, make it fun, make it exciting. Do a vision board. I didn't mention this during the best practices section, but have fun with it. Cut out pictures of magazines and put together a vision board. Put together your 2020 vision board. Just again, whatever it takes for you to really be passionate about creating this life and this business that you deserve. You deserve this. We all have a unique story in life. We all have unique experiences. We all have passions. We are all put on this earth to do something very special. So it's important for us to be intentional. And the way that we get to that place that we deserve is to start setting these goals and thinking about, the vision that we want to be in and where we want to be 5 years from now. Okay, that was it. The very first solo episode of Gen X Amplified. Wow. That was it. Wow. 20 episodes, episode number 20, new format. But remember, we will still be bringing you interviews with great, exceptional guests every week. We're just adding in a little different flavor, a new solo episode between me, a conversation between me and you. And today we talked about goal setting, the importance of setting your goals starting right now, and also thinking about your long-term 5-year 2020 vision. Remember, be intentional with your goals. Write them down. Make them measurable and have someone hold you accountable. So I really appreciate you listening in. Thank you so much for all of the subscribes, all of the reviews, all the listens, all of the shares. At the end of the day, remember, this show is made just for you. And so for the show notes for this episode, for this first solo episode, go over to genxamplified.com/020 for the show notes. And also, if you want to know more about the show, even beyond what I talked about today on this episode, why it exists, and to get more insights even about me, go over to genxamplified.com, the website. And if you want to know more about my consulting and coaching services, how I can help you take your brand or business to the next level when it comes to brand development, marketing, or podcast training and consulting. I started to get some inquiries for people wanting to start or even grow their podcast, and I'm very passionate about that. But anyway, go over to the website, or actually to my personal website at adrianporter.com and contact me. I would love to hear from you, and we can talk more about that. So as always, that is it for this episode, and I thank you so much for listening. And until next time, go amplify your unique story, your unique brand, so you can maximize your impact in business and life. Thank you so much, and all the best to your success. Take care.